Welcome, everybody, to the Sonoma Spiel. My name is Tim with the Sonoma Valley Visitors Bureau. I started this week, like I do every week before the podcast. I go see Jimmy the Pumpkin Guy. He's at the Friday Farmers Market wearing his kilt, great beard. He told me that they're going to have a fantastic pumpkin year this year. They'll be launching pumpkins from a catapult up there at the farm, Oak Hill Farm in Glen Ellen. And I'm not here to talk about Jimmy, but I'm here to talk about if you go just beyond Jimmy, there's a bike path. And it's called the Sonoma Bike Path. You take the Sonoma Bike Path, it goes from Sebastiani Winery, and it goes all the way out of town, and it ends sort of at a local landmark by McDonald's, but Verano Avenue, and that begins an actually different part of Sonoma Valley. And that area is called the Springs. And the Springs is historically an area where people came for resorts, where people new to the country would come to live, where all sorts of people who live in my industry, in tourism, live, and who work in ag, and who start businesses. And it's really vital, and it's a cool spot. But we haven't had anyone to come talk about it yet on the podcast. So today I have a very special guest. And I know every week I say it, but this week I actually mean it. Very special guest, Karina Garcia. How are you?
I've heard that many times, Tim.
No, this week I actually mean it, Karina.
Okay.
This week I actually mean it. Because, not only are you a very special guest, people who are watching on YouTube might have recognized you from our videos doing the lighting of the plaza.
We were there,
you were my co-host. You helped me out there. We had a good time.
We have history, Tim.
We do. We do.
Well, thank you for having me, Tim. Of course. I know we've been trying to get me in here for a while.
Yeah, you're a hard catch. I'll tell you that, Karina. That's
for sure. And I'm happy and excited to talk about the Springs, an area where I grew up. Cool. And want to say in your introduction, when you're talking about where the bike path ends, it also ends where the new East Sonoma County Services Center is located.
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah, more services in the Springs.
Which you helped set up, I recall.
I was part of that, yes. As part of my day job. Got to earn the daily bread.
Exactly, of course. Yeah. Well, so Karina, let's start with that. Are you from Sonoma Valley, grew up here? Tell us your story. How'd you end up here?
Well, fortunately for me, my parents migrated from Mexico.
Okay.
Jalisco is where my my mom's side of the family is, and my dad's from Michoacan.
Okay.
I was 6 years old, came with my family.
So you were born in Mexico?
I was born in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Yes, my native language is Spanish.
Okay.
Hablo español 100%.
Qué bueno.
And we, settled in Sonoma Valley, Fetters Hot Springs.
Oh, right.
Before El Molino used to be a restaurant.
Right.
It was a coffee shop. And, before that, it was a laundromat. For real. And I was there. I witnessed it all.
It looks like a laundromat. It has that kind of like square look there, there.
The Pac-Man machines were there. We loved going, to do laundry with Mom, of course, because we wanted to play. As she's doing all the
fighting the quarters. She's trying to do the laundry. And you're like, Mom, give me Pac-Man quarters.
One more quarter, please. I got to beat him. So I've been fortunate to, grow up in the valley and also be a part of our wine culture. Right. Growing up, I wasn't aware where I was actually, being raised. Right. Now I know, looking back. But in retrospect, picking grapes was part of, something we did every summer. We unfortunately were not vacationing, abroad. Right. We were picking grapes in order to pay for our school supplies. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So your parents came as agricultural workers? Was that? Or
Initially it wasn't. It was just, looking for that,
some opportunity here.
Exactly. And, they happened to know someone who was already settled here. It's that kind of thing. It's very common in the culture to, go where someone's already settled, especially someone or family members. So we came and we worked in the vineyards and did everything that we needed to survive. Okay. My parents often had 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. We started working once we became of age and, studied, worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so tell me, when you were going to school here, did you go to school in Sonoma Valley or in the Springs, or where'd you guys go to school?
In the Springs. Okay. Flowery School. I can still sing our pledge song. Proud.
And was that, right now it's a dual immersion bilingual school?
Correct.
Was it at that time the same thing, or was it all in English back then?
It was not back then. And I could count the number of Latinos or monolingual or bilingual Spanish speakers in my time, and then eventually moved to Altamira.
Okay.
At the time, Adele was not a middle school; it was just Altamira. So everyone from all the elementary schools went to. It was a big change for us going into middle school, eventually high school.
Go Dragons!
Go Dragons!
Gotta say Go Dragons! Which I think it's so funny, Sonoma Valley High School, and I do love this high school because, one, they have a huge dragon in the quad, right? He's kind of a weird-looking dragon. Let's be. I mean, it's kind of artistic dragon.
It's artistic. There you go.
But how much the community kind of rallies around the high school and all different sports and theater and different activities, and they do like the homecoming in the plaza and stuff like that.
The pride behind that and the symbolism of the dragon, I think, it's amazing. I unfortunately wasn't able to be involved in a lot of the school activities or sports and whatnot. I had a different lifestyle. You know, my upbringing was different. But I'm still proud of my, you know, my background, my education that led me to the next steps in my life. And I appreciate what my parents did, you know, with the little resources that they had and knowledge and education. I'm a proud Latina.
So after you were a dragon, where did you go after that, Karina?
I went to the JC for a few years, couple years, 2 or 3 years. And then transferred to Sonoma State, where I got my bachelor's degree. Business administration, concentration in marketing with a minor in psychology. Say that in one breath.
You got to get 2 diplomas just to smash it on the bottom there.
Exactly. And that actually opened a huge door in my career. After that, also I have to give a shout out to the people who supported me more emotionally than, you know, financially. But what that led to was the opportunity to work at a Spanish television station for over a decade. And it really helped me, you know, get a different view on our community and our struggles. It's in the entertainment sector, but I was always drawn to community events, right? I remember when the binational health fair first launched here in Sonoma Valley at El Verano School, led by Mary Carmen Reyes. You probably know Mary Carmen. You know, as part of my job with the TV station, I said, we need to support this community event. So I brought cameras, and there we were. We had a booth. We had giveaways.
So you made news out of it, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's something
so that's smart.
to,
Were you in front of the camera? Were you a producer? What did you do at the TV station?
Well, I carried different roles and wore multiple hats throughout, you know, my time with this station. My primary role was in sales because that's really where the money is. But I was the official talent for the station, so I was definitely in front of the camera.
So you get a microphone and you have to start talking.
Doing interviews all the time, whether live, pre-recorded. And I also hosted, or I was the MC for multiple events. Like the Cinco de Mayo Festival in Richmond, where over 60 to 70,000 attendees.
So you weren't just in Sonoma Valley now. You were talking the whole Bay Area.
I mean, the station covered the 9 counties of the Bay. I was all over the place.
Did people ever recognize you? They're like, I saw you at a thing.
Yes. I think people thought they knew me more than I knew them. Happened all the time.
That probably happens a lot to people who are on TV. Who are like, I don't know why I know you. And you're just probably like, okay, I'm just...
And you don't expect it. You know, it's sort of like a burden and, you know, a curse, because I was proud to be in front of the camera and providing information. Sometimes it's entertainment, right? So win a pack, you know, tickets to Santa Cruz.
That's exciting.
But then you can't really be out and about because people start recognizing you. And I was also a host of a entertainment show called El Sabor de la Noche. We would go to different events, festivals, concerts, interview artists, you know, attendees, and people would come up to me. I know you.
I've seen you before.
Yeah, but I don't know you.
Like, I'm not going to dance with you. So that was a taste of the night, El Sabor de la Noche.
El Sabor de la Noche, yes.
And that would kind of cover the nightlife in the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area, exactly. I mean, we could be in San Jose one night, Santa Rosa the next morning for Guelaguetza cultural events. So I did a lot of driving. That's probably why my back is like, I don't want to be in a car anymore.
That's all the glamour of regional television, right? Everyone thinks it's like, oh, you must be making tons of money and you must be like flying around, and you're like,
there's a lot of expenses behind that. Imagine the wardrobes. You can't repeat an outfit on TV.
I know, that's why. Or you just wear all black.
That was my trick.
And also, if people watch this on YouTube, they notice I actually have 3 shirts that I wear for these. It's kind of so that's a secret.
I can't wear this shirt ever again. Because
I know.
Now
it's just go burn it. Go down to Church Mouse or the other one and donate it.
Donate.
You're funny.
Exactly.
And then, so, Karina, what brought you back to Sonoma Valley, or how did you end up working back here?
Well, I lived in Sonoma Valley.
The whole time.
Yes. I did move out a few years, only when the station was in Emeryville, and it just, you know,
a drive.
It was a drive. And ultimately, I decided to come back to Sonoma Valley because I was at that stage in my life where I wanted to settle down and watch my nieces and nephews grow up, be closer to family.
Right.
And I mean, what is there not to love about Sonoma Valley and the springs? I mean, the food, the bike path, Overlook Trail.
Let's get into it.
Larson Park. I mean, there's so many things to do here.
So the springs, for people who don't know, it comprises 3 main towns, which I should have written down, but ready? Agua Caliente, Boys Hot Springs, and Fetters Hot Springs.
Yes.
And there's probably another
El
springs.
Verano.
And El Verano. It is so funny people mention El Verano because technically it's going the other direction a little bit. So, but like, so the spring's kind of like a diagonal, if we think of it that way.
Right.
And historically, it was where people would come for vacation.
Yeah.
And there were actual springs, right?
There were. I mean, and I remember swimming one summer in the pools in Agua Caliente. Literally means water that is warm, warm water. And then they disappeared, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
I hear there's people still, and maybe you can tell me if this is true or not. So there are geothermal pools or channels or whatever that run underneath the springs.
Yes.
They're not as much pressure as there used to be,
right,
but they're still there. Supposedly there's families that still have access in their backyards.
Okay, why don't I know those?
These are these like legendary stories. And they're like, oh yeah, I know the Lopez's have access to the hot springs somehow in their backyard. I think as you go down near the creek, sometimes that comes up. I know for sure at Morton's, you know, there's some cracks there where it comes up. So I am positive. Like the Fairmont, they use geothermal pools there.
Right.
I am confident someone there has like a 200-year-old well that I'm talking about.
I need to expand my friendship circle, apparently, Tim.
Talk to Lopez's.
Yeah, but besides that, you know, growing up, we used Larson Park as our backyard.
Right.
And I know it's in need of much love, and there's a lot of work going around.
They're doing major renovations, I hear.
There's work, you know, around that. Okay. But you can still go and enjoy the grass and be out there. There's a, you know, play structure for children. You can play some basketball or even just to go walk around. I think it's really nice. There's shade you can enjoy. I remember back in the day, my dad used to play soccer, and every Sunday,
was he a Sunday
my
player?
mom claims to be extremely Catholic, and it was like, well, we got to go to church on Sunday.
For 3 hours
but Dad had a soccer game. We would be at Dad's soccer game, not at church. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, the Sunday leagues are fun to watch. It's not the best athleticism in the world, but it's like the most enthusiastic, and they're having so much fun, and the families are there. There's music going on. I love watching the Sunday leagues.
My dad has trophy after trophy after trophy,
of course,
and my brother and my nephews, and people are always asking, "What about you?" I'm like, "I'm the greatest cheerleader,"
but I'm not gonna go out. Well, it's funny because as they watch those guys get older, the injuries become more frequent, and then eventually they have that conversation with themselves, like, do I still do this, or do I have to go to the sidelines?
Yeah.
Right? That's what,
My dad eventually promoted from, you know, the real team to the veterans team, but it was still fun to watch because they have a lot of strategy, and it's just there's less injury.
There's less injury, and a little more beer on the side sometimes afterwards. Right. Do they still play at Larson Park? Do you still see games out there?
People are out there all the time. I don't think the leagues are there, but you know, just go for fun. I know my family, even Altamira. Right. We used to go out there in the afternoons or the summer or spring break, and just hang out, play volleyball.
The parks are nice.
The track.
They are, and I do know they're also redoing with the pump track the other park whose name currently escapes me. Thank you, Maxwell.
Yes. Oh, and did you know that Maxwell first phase renovations are completed?
Yeah, so tell me about that. What are they doing over there? Like?
There's a lot of new sports fields. Okay. There's new ADA access and EV charging stations.
Oh, I know that. Okay.
The phase 2 is coming once funding is secured, and people can look online for more information. Okay. But I mean, it's a park that we can access through the bike path or just walk across, you know, the Highway 12 corridor. Yep. Grab some good food. Let's not forget the food.
So let's go into the food of the springs, because I call the Miracle Mile goes from roughly where currently a restaurant called El Mocajete is, right? And then all the way to the Fairmont is a mile. Yeah. And you pass some great restaurants. So let's talk. I'm gonna start with one that I like, okay? And then we'll go back and forth because you know more than I do. I'll start with Spread, which is Lebanese-inspired food. A woman named Christina Topham is the chef. Really good fries. Yeah. Really good fries. I think you and I have had lunch there, right? Yeah. We have. That's a good spot. I took a guy, Noche Mustafa. He's been on this podcast. I took him there, and he was like, wow, this is amazing. It's just a pickled, like, carrots and something else. It's like pickled stuff. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
Well, I do have to disclose, Tim, that I am allergic to garlic, so I'm limited a lot of time on what I can eat. But I always take people, I take friends and family. You can enjoy all that. I'm limited. I'll have a glass of water.
Exactly.
But I mean, we have variety of food, and I know that most people know El Molino and La Hacienda. Right. We have Sonoma Eats, a traditional, authentic Oaxacan
food. That mole is so good. So Efrain and his wife Haley run it. They just had a baby, so they're crazy, and they're expanding a little bit because Barking Dog moved out. Yes. I really like Sonoma Eats because they also have good mushroom tacos. So if you're like vegetarian, good option.
The potato tacos are also really good.
Jose that works with us, he likes those a lot. And they also have empanadas. Not a lot of places have empanadas.
Right.
But yeah, and El Molino, as you mentioned, is famous. And La Hacienda, I think if people go there for margaritas and chilling.
They have a variety of margaritas, so you could have samples of all different flavors, and they're delicious.
For locals, if you want to find a local from within, like, say, a 15-minute walk of La Hacienda on a Friday, that's where they are. They're having margaritas, pictures of them, on their big patio. They have a huge patio.
They have a huge patio. And Sonoma Eats has some outdoor seating
as
well.
Good job. He's put a lot of effort in that, too.
Yeah. Let's not forget the taco trucks
in
the evening, right?
Go.
So you go have a good afternoon. You're playing at Larson, and then you walk through the springs. You're hungry, so taco trucks set up. Right next to 22 Boys Boulevard parking lot. That's county owned. There's a wonderful truck. And you'll have some of the best salsas. Again, I can't have them because they have garlic, but the smell
is so good. Is that where what's kind of when you say 22? Is that where the Boys Plaza idea is?
Future Plaza? Correct.
Thank you. Okay,
it's right next to the post office,
outside of the Fairmont area.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Exactly.
And there used to be a Jesus taco truck there that would pull up because it had a huge photo of Jesus on it.
And that's where the Springs Mac hosts the winter celebration for those that are local. Hopefully, I believe it's happening mid-December, early mid-December. It's a fun celebration for the entire family. Santa Claus makes an appearance.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
And there's free gifts for the attendees, hot chocolate cookies. Fairmont also joins, and a few other nonprofit organizations locally. So it's a great spot.
Another taco truck. Go.
Another taco truck would be La Bamba.
La Bamba, by the window
and you
place.
can call in your order, by the way.
You can?
Yes.
Cash only. I think it's cash only. So I pulled up there once. I was like,
I know. You can place your order and then go grab cash and come back. By the time you come back, your order's ready.
And that's when you're leaving Sonoma heading towards Santa Rosa. It's on the right-hand side.
Correct.
By the window place.
Correct.
And I don't know the address, but
They make bomb gorditas.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, they do have good gorditas. That is a good place.
Gorditas de chicharrón.
Okay, and chicharrón is fried pork rinds?
Yes.
Pork skin? Yeah.
Yes. So. You know your food.
It's one of those things, it's like a hot dog. Don't think too much about it. It's really delicious.
You can only have it every so often.
Right.
Cristiano Ronaldo recently said, he can indulge in these things like desserts, a good burger, not every day, but every once in a while you got to feed the soul.
Is that what's stopping me from soccer glory?
I think
one
so
too many burgers. Yeah. That's the only difference. All right, so La Bamba is a great truck. And then there is another one. It's not a truck, but they set up outside of, is it Favorita? It's like a stand.
Yes. And sometimes those food stands are the best.
Yeah.
It's authentic, it's quick, and you really get that flavor. It's right outside La Favorita, also on Highway 12. Yes.
So another thing that Springs is known for, and for people who aren't from California, it's kind of interesting, are the small little corner stores. And that kind of holds down a lot of the community, providing everything from groceries. Some of them have like little taquerias in the back.
Right.
They might offer services like sending money to places. Those seem to be
it's a convenience store.
Yeah, the convenience store, right.
Yes.
But more than a 7-Eleven.
Right.
Right.
And I think what it also does, it sort of brings a piece of home to your current home, right? You walk in, and as soon as you walk in, the majority of them are set up in a way where the produce is right up front. Yeah. So you get that swift of the guava, right? The mangoes, avocados are there. Aguacates from Mexico. Okay.
The good ones.
The good ones. The Haas avocados.
Right.
And then, some of them have a meat deli. And then you got your fresh, or your cans, canned goods in the back. And it just makes it feel like you're walking into the convenience store in your, home country.
Right, where you are.
And it just, it's a sense of home and family.
Right.
And prices are reasonable.
They actually are very reasonable.
And, the majority are family owned and operated, so why not support our local business owners?
And you can find something different in there or something that you need. And it's really fun when I'm driving home. I see everyone. That's where they go because you buy a little bit at a time. You go cook that. A little bit of veggies.
Right.
As dinner for that night.
Right. And sometimes those small businesses do more for our community than the big corporations. I remember during COVID, a lot of them, shout out to Iñiguez owners, because they were lowering their prices. They had extended hours because they understood that families couldn't be there at all, So shout out to our community. I think we all come together.
I like that.
Yeah.
Other than restaurants, I can say one cool shop I like. It's technically a restaurant. El Cielito, where they have churros and ice cream. And I have a sweet tooth. So.
I'm learning that from this food interview.
So I like going there. And right next to him is the Teen Services Bicycle Shop, where he.
I'm going to be taking my bikes there because I can't fix my bike. So
so Adrian's there, and he trains kids on how to work on bikes, and it's like a nonprofit, and it's really cool. But that's a neat little area there.
Right. Well, there's also La Michoacana.
Okay, tell me what they sell.
Owned by Teresita Fernandez and her family.
Yeah.
Popsicles and ice cream and what we call antojitos mexicanos, a variety of little sweet, desserts. And it could be a fried Dorito with a bunch of good
Let's
stuff.
talk about the old Toasty Locos there.
Thank you, called Toasty Locos.
So we cut open a bag of Doritos, right? We're like, how can we improve this? We're like, we're going to put hot sauce, tahini? They put all sorts of...
Tahini and chamoy, and then you add a little bit of cabbage, and you add Japanese peanuts. Inside the bag. Yes.
And so you essentially create, it's almost like, this is awful, they're both going to come at me, but think of it like a Mexican ramen bowl. It's like a whole meal, but with corn chips, spicy stuff, and it becomes a meal.
It's something that you absolutely cannot have on a daily basis. I will tell you that.
Right.
And I'm not the best at eating spicy foods anymore.
Right.
Everyone laughs at me. They're like, "You're the worst representation of Mexico." I'm sorry, my palate.
Right.
But all the mix of flavors in there somehow makes sense.
And the textures.
And the texture.
Yeah,
exactly.
the kind of crunch in there.
Exactly.
And I think a Toasty Locos is it's funny because it's not a traditional Mexican meal in the sense of you think of moles and enchiladas.
Right.
And,
but it's become a staple, antojito mexicano. And antojito is sort of, it means craving, right? So a little craving of a Mexican, flavor.
It's like a little snack there,
yes,
right? Okay.
Yeah. So lots of great snacks at La Michoacana across the street from the Fruit Basket.
Okay, Fruit Basket. Huge old style fruit store, right? And a lot of people shop there all the time.
I do all the time.
What kind of stuff can you find there?
I mean, everything, all your fruits, all your vegetables, and they've grown a little bit. Sometimes, when I used to drink regular milk, I'd run out of milk. Oh, let me just go grab it there. It's right down the street. So, and if you're Italian, they have Italian foods. If you're Lebanese, I've seen some Lebanese. I've seen everything. It's sort of like an international convenience store.
Because I don't think I'm out of pocket by saying the Springs is like a stop if you're new to this country. And as the immigration waves change, right? I'm seeing more Middle Eastern food appearing, and and that's cool, right? And it's cool that there's these places, these local shops that carry it. And I love going in there because it's like the old San Francisco grocers or the old groceries that you would see on the way to the Central Valley with all the pears are over here, all the peaches are over here. It just smells good.
The smells when you walk in.
Yeah.
You almost want to take everything, and then I think I can't consume all this food. I can't. It's impossible. But I want to take everything.
I know. I have that problem where I buy stuff and I'm like, I'm just making pre-compost because it's going to end up going bad. I know. I got to figure out how to dry stuff. That's what I got to do quicker, or preserve or jams or something like that. You don't make jams, do you?
No.
I could learn so much.
But I love eating jam. My sister makes it and brings it over.
Figure the whole thing out there. Karina, before we go any further, you know that we do commercials on the podcast?
Really?
Yeah, we do commercials.
Okay.
You can help me do a commercial.
Okay.
For the Sonoma Plaza Tasting Pass. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here's how it works.
Okay.
I'm just gonna ask you some questions. I just gave that to you. This is your first pre-read. You know nothing about it. Ready? Hi, I am here at the Plaza, and I'm looking for an easy way to taste wine at more than one winery. What do you think I should do?
Get the most from your visit to Sonoma. The Plaza Wine Tasting Pass offers you a choice of 3 experiences from among 7 tasting rooms. Visit Sonoma Valley. Does that work?
You knocked that out of the park. Normally, people are like, and you're like, oh, I can do this. I've been on TV. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Since we've added 3 different wineries since we published that last time, so now it's 10.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, hold on. Now with 3 bonus stops.
There you go.
$69, valid for 24 hours. Find it at SonomaValley.com.
This is wonderful, Tim. Discover why Sonoma Valley is one of the best places to start your wine country experience.
There you go.
Must be 21 and over.
Thank you. If you're under 21, you can go to get a paleta at the Michoacana place. Which we didn't talk about. A paleta is a Mexican popsicle.
Yes.
Or actually, it's just a popsicle, but in Mexico they call it a paleta.
Right.
But,
and multiple flavors. It's unimaginable.
Yes.
You crave it, they have it.
Yeah. So there's I always go for strawberries and cream. I like that one.
There's
all sorts of
cucumber.
Right.
There's rompope, which is, oh my gosh, it's escaping me. This is what happens when you speak 2 languages. I'll come back to
canela?
that.
Is that cinnamon?
Canela, cinnamon. They have all sorts of flavors that you could just go in there and sample everything.
Yeah, guava.
Guava.
Oh, yeah, guava. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
it's one of my favorites. Limon, lime.
That's good. Oh, do you know what's weird about Spanish, by the way? Limon and then limon verde. You don't have a word for lime. You just have lime and then
limon
lime.
and limon verde. Yes,
right.
That's it.
But I guess I looked it up. They're both from the same plant. Eventually, they just were bred separately.
They just bred, right?
Thanks for coming to Tim's language and plant talk. So as I love about Michoacana, it's a great place to stop. Next door to it is a really cool consignment / thrift store. And we should mention, we haven't mentioned that a late artist decorated the facades of a bunch of buildings with really neat, colorful, at time a little controversial. Some people didn't like it. I think it looks perfect. They're very bright and kind of thematic.
I love it. Yeah. And let's not forget, Tim, the variety of nonprofit organizations that live and have their offices in the Springs corridor, like FISH, Friends in Sonoma Helping, Sonoma Immigrant Services as well. Right. I probably should not start listing anymore because I'm going to forget, but you're wonderful.
Well, Teen Services is there. There's so many people. And what I love, especially Teen Services, they have a lot of cool programs, like Art Escape is there as well.
Yes.
They're so welcoming, and I think I see a lot of kids' bikes out in front of there, which means it's a spot for kids who want a safe place. Right. They can do art there. They can do the programs there. I think Boys and Girls Clubs has some stuff down by Maxwell Park, I think. So there are a lot of nonprofits doing good work there.
And they're supporting our community, and we were thankful and grateful that they exist. They do the job that they do.
They're there. Now, on the other side, and they do support a lot of nonprofits, but the Fairmont Sonoma Mission Inn and Spa is this beautiful resort in the Springs. A lot of people stay there. I always encourage them, get outside and walk in the Springs and explore. Some go to El Molino, some walk across the street to Sonoma Eats. Right. But there's always something to walk around and explore. And again, it's a mile from Mocajetes to the Fairmont.
It's not too far. You can easily do it.
And some people rent their bikes. They have bikes, and then you can just go down. They put in the new protected bike lane at the Donald Gap, that little tiny bridge. And then you can hop on the bike path to come into town there, which I think, it's nice.
Right. And, Tim, I believe that the Springs still has a high majority of individuals who speak Spanish, predominantly Spanish. I grew up there speaking Spanish at home, English at school, and with friends. Well, with friends, we spoke Spanglish. I'm the Spanglish generation. I could give you a sample of that. It starts like, hey, let's hang out mañana para ir a jugar y luego nos vemos tomorrow. You're mixing the languages. And that's what I was used to until I was in high school. And I had a year, I think it was my junior year, I had a free elective. I'm like, what am I going to do? It's my junior year. I'm overwhelmed. Let me do something easy. I'm going to take Spanish, right? Because I spoke Spanish.
Of course, do an easy A or A.
I thought. It was a rude awakening. I realized my grammar was not as great as I thought. And I was using Spanglish. And I just thought at that moment, Spanish deserves to be spoken solely in Spanish. And English
Well, deserves. I mean, yes and no, because that's how new languages are formed, though.
Right. Well, I understand that. But then it also made me realize that I had this advantage where I could communicate with more people. And instead of just, speaking Spanglish, I could communicate with Spanish and also educate our community. Because at one point, I worked front office for a local orthopedic surgeon. And at one point, I was translating and interpreting And, when a patient came in who was a monolingual Spanish speaker, and I said, the operating room, but with the proper terminology, and they look at me with a confused face, I said, the operating room, right?
Right.
Oh, okay. So I made sure I associated el quirófano, which is the operating room, with sala de operaciones.
Oh,
so the common term that they're used to, but also let them know this is what it's properly known as, and this is the common term.
So you weren't just doing there's translating and interpreting,
it's different.
You're doing cultural interpretation as well, and helping them understand not just the words, but also learning stuff. And that's a skill,
right?
That's
and
different.
Not to plug myself, but as
Go
part
for
of
it.
as part of something that I did during COVID, in my time at Supervisor Gorin's office.
Oh, Karina, did you have a day job that you worked for somebody? So just for everyone listening, Karina also worked for Supervisor Gorin, who is our county supervisor.
Correct.
And if I'm allowed to say, you currently still work for the county.
I do.
Okay,
yes.
so
yes.
and do quite a good job. So
Thank
during
you.
COVID, which was let's just say a stressful time, what did you roll out?
I saw this opportunity to really educate and inform our community in Spanish, and I launched Charla Comunitaria. It's an all-Spanish community conversation. That's what, charla means. And I invited guests representing the county and different organizations, providing resource information and updates on COVID, and then expanded to other topics such as emergency preparedness, mental health awareness, farm worker rights, employee rights, all, different sorts of topics that the community was expressing interest in at that time.
Right.
It was all through Zoom and then broadcasted on Facebook as well as on Channel 50 Spanish Television Network.
Right, you actually put it on actual TV.
Yes, it was on TV.
With a guy, an actual front of the camera guy. What's
My former co-worker and co-host, Juan Barragan.
Yeah, Juan. Okay.
Yes. He was a former news anchor of Univision, local.
He had that cadence down, like the
news.
He's
amazing.
He was like CNN level, right? It was funny.
He's extremely professional and humble. The community connects with him.
What I love, they were very approachable, right? It was almost like an old evening magazine style. You like this host, but you're learning new stuff. Right. So when you, for example, it's about immigrant rights, this is going to be very dry. This is going to be a lawyer talking. But it was good.
Right. Yeah. And I took the opportunity, Tim, to really reference the culture, the the Latino culture or Latinx culture and really embrace it and, take the opportunity to share information in a way that was entertaining, humorous.
Right.
But serious at the same time.
Right.
And it worked. I mean, the formula worked. People tuned in.
They were popular. No, I got to be honest. I'm not sleeping on the rest of the county's communications. We appreciate it all. But if you're dry and government, people don't really listen as much. Yeah. But if you converse with people. Right.
I have to say, I'm used to being in front of the camera. I'm perfectly okay with that, but I'm used to asking the questions. And today, I have to say, I'm a little nervous. I'm usually not the one getting interviewed. What is going on?
It's weird to be in the hot seat.
I'm sweating.
It's weird to be in the hot seat.
It is.
No, you're doing great. And your mom was worried what you were going to ask.
My mom
and you're doing a great job. So tell your mom, Mrs. Garcia, she's doing great. She's doing great so far.
Thank you. Yeah. So back to one of the realizations is that I had the opportunity to really educate and reach out to our community and empower our community and also to be a face that people can identify with and recognize and feel as, I don't know, if I can be a role model for someone, then so be it, right?
Well, I think it was because it was so scary times that they're like, you are a person I can trust and that can put me at ease. Right. And I think that was the advantage. You're from the neighborhood. They know you. Right. And you guys did a really good job. I mean, I'm not even that fluent in Spanish, but I was watching. I'm like, oh, this is really good.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Because you could tell people are laughing and cracking smiles and whatnot. So
because again, a lot of communication at that time was I'm the authority figure and I'm talking to you. Right. And I don't think that's as effective. Right. And it's much more let's converse and talk.
Exactly. And so it's speaking of fun opportunities and communication, one of my goals and dreams for the Springs, because I grew up in the Springs, fun fact about me, I like to go to trivia night. I'm not the greatest, but I love going to trivia night. Okay,
tell me more about it. Yes.
And so, you shouldn't really say your dreams out loud until
let's manifest. We're manifesting right now. Let's manifest it.
What I want, what I envision is a bilingual or at the minimum a Spanish trivia night event
we can do it
in the Springs.
We can do it.
I had previous conversations with some of the business owners in the Springs, and they were on board. It's just a matter of really making it happen. I was actually at trivia night earlier this week, ran into a Latino family, and they were like, "What's going on? Why is everyone so happy? Why is why are people like scratching their heads?" So I explained what trivia was, and they said, "Well, why isn't there one in Spanish?" I said, "Listen,
Karina,
this is my dream. I want to make this happen.
Let's do it."
So yes, Tim.
Okay. Right, we talked about it. We talked about maybe doing
it,
the front of the Fairmont or maybe La Hacienda. We got to find a place.
We have to find a venue.
The Grange Hall.
Yes.
But I think doing it in a bar or restaurant because it's already set up. A lot of them have AV already set up.
Right. And I mean, it'd be beneficial for the venue because they'd be making
People would
some
show
money.
up.
People will show up. You get thirsty. You get hungry.
We've got in the Valley, we mentioned Flowery. There's been now a generation of kids who are bilingual because they went through. So for those who don't know, Flowery is a dual immersion school. And then they go to the high school, and the high school has much more advanced Spanish now. So there are kids out there that can do it and switch. And you could even do it where, like, if you don't have a team, you kind of like mix and match English and Spanish, and we figure it out, or it would be so much fun.
I totally want to do it, Tim. This is something that has been on my radar for a long time now, and I want to make it happen.
Everyone gets Tosti Locos.
Get your Tosti Locos. Come at Tosti Locos and trivia.
Right, Tosti and trivia. I just like our fingers are all dirty, our mouth is full of
yes,
that'd be fun.
And I mean, I also see it as a way to educate our community. You might not know the answer, but by the end of the night, you know who,
or somebody who knows the answer.
Right. So isn't it exciting? What's a little friendly competition?
And it's also, there's a lot of stuff that you like. Okay, at night you have to go to a bar and drink. If that's not your scene, then what do you do? Right. And it's like, no, this is just for fun. You can show up and have a soda and just be chill. So,
yeah, just enjoy, learn a little, or feel bad about how little you know.
How about we try to work on this? We talk about this in the winter because like in the summer everyone's out having a good time.
Right.
So if you roll this out like starting in November, December, you could give
people opportunities to do something indoor and learn and be with family. It's something that.
So if anybody's listening, Christina at Spread, Ephraim at Sonoma Eats, La Hacienda family, talk to us.
Yes,
right.
Please.
Fairmont. Okay, Karina's in on this.
I will be the host.
You got some questions ready? We can totally do it.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So
I'm willing to put from my pocket just to, we need this kind of stuff in the Springs.
Maybe I will put up a Sonoma Plaza tasting pass as a prize.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
And that's the other thing, that's the other thing that these local businesses can provide certificates. And, I plug your business.
Right.
The family wins something, and it sort of brings the business back to you.
It brings everybody back together. I love that.
Yeah.
Karina, are you ready for the fun/challenge? Speaking of trivia.
Okay.
The fun/challenging part of our podcast.
Bring it on.
You know what we're about to do, right?
You're going to ask me some questions.
Right. So you're going to, okay, here's how it works. I unplugged myself. Hold on one second.
Technical difficulties.
I'm back. Okay.
This is live. This is why it's happening.
This is how it works. Okay. So, we have two we have two visitor centers. We have one at the Plaza, one down at Jacuzzi Winery. We have volunteers. People call. They ask us questions. They walk in. Right now, today, I'm deputizing you as a volunteer at the Sonoma Valley Visitors Bureau.
Oh, boy.
And you're going to help me in a segment we call We Get Questions.
Dun-da-da.
Okay, first question we got. I purchased the Plaza Tasting Pass. Do I need to make reservations at the 3 wineries I am interested in? Are these tastings at the wineries or at the Plaza? Thank you.
Oh, gosh. Let's see. Based on this, it's mobile exclusive, instantly delivered via text and email.
Yeah.
No apps to download.
Right.
Visit up to 3 locations in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
They must be used within 60 days of purchase. Yeah. Available 24 hours.
I'm now realizing I forgot to leave something off. So ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just here's what it says right here. And you don't need...
No reservation.
You don't need a reservation. You just show right up. I should put that on the thing.
Maybe that would be helpful,
Thank you.
Tim.
Thank you for being my focus group. So, yeah, you don't need a reservation. But if it's a super busy day, you might want to call ahead.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
But people have been loving them, and they're a big thing. So.
Is it allowed? Can I name some of these amazing tasting rooms available?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bedrock.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You got Highway 12 Winery, Palm Cider Shop.
Palm's good. Like, you like cider or Yep. Some people
Fulcrum
go over there. Yep.
Wines, La Prenda Wines, San Giacomo. Oh, this is fabulous. I'm going home with this.
Give me the pass now. Okay, good. You passed that one. That was good. All right, here's one we got. This guy walked into our visitor center yesterday. Are you ready for this one?
Okay.
Hi, we've lived in Kenwood for 25 years,
Okay.
but never been down here to the Sonoma Plaza.
What?
What is this city party everyone's talking about?
Well, he just missed it. It was just happening this week. Amazing, good music, great food.
Yeah.
Everyone comes out and celebrates the
Big
city.
deal.
It's
Right.
a big deal. Yes.
I think it's the first Thursday in August every
In
year.
August, yeah.
And first of all, we had to double check. We're like, you lived in Kenwood, 20 minutes away, and have not been to the Sonoma Plaza, which I understand some people drive to Santa Rosa. That's mind-boggling.
You know, it's interesting how there's a little bit of division in the area. But just drive through the Springs, stop in the area, and then go to the plaza if you'd like.
To this gentleman, stop by. Might I recommend on your way stopping at La Michoacana and getting a paleta, which is the popsicle,
Yeah.
and then keep going on to the plaza for the city
Yes,
party.
yes.
So next year,
Take the
people
bike path, if
Take
you'd
the
like.
bike path. So the city party is a big to do. There's bands. There's food. It's a celebration. It's a very Sonoma thing.
Yeah.
It's like let's just have a party.
Yes, you can
Why
have
not?
a picnic there too.
You can definitely have a picnic there.
Dance, get your face painted, lots of good
All the things.
activities. Yes.
Here's a question someone asked. How long does it take to get from the San Francisco airport to Petaluma?
I would say it's about a 45-minute drive on a good day.
Yeah.
It's pretty convenient. And why go to Petaluma? Come to Sonoma Valley. Come to the Springs, people.
You could just drive 20 minutes more and be in Sonoma Valley.
Yes.
25 minutes you're in the Springs. So I don't know why you're asking how to get to Petaluma. Why don't you come to the Springs?
Come to the Springs.
God.
Come on.
Okay, here's one, and this is so funny that you're on. We've kind of already talked about this, but I got this question by a text earlier. Where can I find a food truck in and around Sonoma Valley, especially one open later at night?
There you go. La Bamba's going to be there. And
La
they have a
Bamba.
number, and if I had it handy, I
Right.
would. And let me tell you, they do pick up. Fun story. I was in Mexico at a wedding and ran into some friends from the Springs,
Right.
and we're like, hey, aren't the La Bamba tacos the best? And it was after midnight in Mexico, and maybe there were a couple of drinks in our system.
Perhaps.
And we thought, let's call La Bamba. What are the odds they're going to pick up? They picked up.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
And they're like, Karina, if you don't have cash,
Yes.
you're out of
They
here.
pick
They
up.
pick up. And so,
Yes.
so La Bamba food truck is in the Springs. It is right before the plaza. What's the glass store. Okay.
Yes, it's right next to Tienda Íñiguez, the little convenience
Oh,
store.
there's a little convenience
It's
store
right
on the
next door to
right.
it.
You'll
Yes.
see that.
Yeah.
And it's like a corner and the door opens. Then right after that, you'll see the food truck. It's a little incline.
It's hard to miss.
It's hard to
There's
miss.
always a lot of people
And
there.
park in the glass thing. Don't park in the glass place when they're open, but they close around 5.
Right.
And the taco truck opens around 6.
You could also park in the 22 Boys Boulevard parking lot and just walk across the
Perfect.
street. Yes.
Good. Right
yeah.
there. So good.
Also, in the winter, Tim, they make delicious champurrado.
And what is that?
It's a
exactly?
mix of hot chocolate with warm milk. Well, and
Yeah, I think it's like cornmeal. Or
it's corn milk.
something like
Yes.
it's so good.
Yes, it's
really
delicious.
it's good for your stomach.
It's good for your soul too.
It's good for your soul. It's probably medicinal. And I'm sure it's low fat and low sugar.
Yes.
That last part, it's a lie. But yeah, it's so good. So the good answer is where to find a food truck in and around Sonoma Valley, especially one open later at night. The Springs,
Yes.
first of all.
Yes.
I think the only other one I know, there's more in the Springs, but there's a place called Tortilleria Jalisco, and they're kind of a food truck, kind of a restaurant.
Yeah, they might have gone through some changes.
I know now I see a
recently.
Morisco sign out front.
Yeah,
Okay, so maybe not that one.
Yeah,
Dang it.
let's stick to the
Okay,
Springs and
very
Lava.
good. Here's a final question we got. Someone said, hey, we're heading back to San Francisco Airport tonight. We've been up here,
Okay.
but we're heading back. Do you have any recommendations for things to do in San Francisco or along the way?
Well, can't they stop here? Can't they just stay here? Why leave? Don't go.
Let's assume they're flying out. Let's assume they've been to the Springs, they've had a great time, and they're like, okay, we should probably start heading back.
Yeah.
Is there anything, like when you go to San Francisco Airport, are there any places you can think of to stop or any other unique ways
There's
to
a
get there?
great sushi place that I go to in San Rafael,
Okay.
and it's right off of Bellum,
Okay.
off of 101. and it's called Yu Sheng.
Okay.
One of the chefs there is from Yucatan, Mexico.
Oh.
His name is Caesar. So if you go there, say hello to Caesar for me.
Caesar at the sushi place.
Yes.
All right, so you can stop in San Rafael, which is a cute town.
Yeah.
And they have neat restaurants there. You can do that. I always recommend to people, when you're going over the Golden Gate Bridge, the best view is actually from the North Vista point. You get off and before you go over, you get off and you go there because especially at night, the bridge is before you. The city's over there. Oakland is further to the left.
Yeah.
You can see Alcatraz, Angel Island.
Kind of get a view of everything.
You see this amazing view.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. If you're going down during the day, instead of going the normal way, which is 19th Avenue, stay hard right. You kind of go through the rich people's houses. Then you work your way down to Ocean Beach.
Yeah.
And you go along that way, and you can stop and see. People don't know that San Francisco has a great beach.
It's
amazing.
It's chilly, but it is.
It's bracing.
Yes.
It's bracing.
There
But
you
that's a great way to see the beach, and then you can take that way to the airport.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to do it. So it's good stuff there.
go.
You did.
Again, I still think they should stay in the States.
You should don't ever leave. This is your chance. Karina, this has been wonderful.
It has.
You know so much about the Springs. You know so much about Sonoma Valley. You're also very useful to the County of Sonoma and to the people of Sonoma. And we didn't talk enough about that, but you do a good job with that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think that, I've been fortunate to have friendships and work relationships that have helped me throughout my career. And I'm just fortunate to be back here and doing what I love and helping others.
Right.
And having the opportunity to meet amazing people like you did.
Oh, well, thank you, Karina.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I was so excited when we finally set the
date. It finally happened. And I will say, in her day job, Karina does work for Sonoma County. So they have a great website, good information about general stuff, especially if you live here or moving here. But also, they're in charge of regional parks. So you guys do good stuff.
Yes.
So that website is...
Maxwell. It's
right.
yeah.
It's a long look up Sonoma County, Maxwell Park,
yes.
and it's all in there, and you can see Karina's work for everything she does. For everybody else, after you've done that, and after you visited Maxwell Park, and after you've been to the Springs, go to SonomaValley.com, look up for deals, special offers, events. You can sign up and hear about the new Broadway theater show that's happening with Transcendence. So there's a lot going on. Go to the website. Mom and Dad, thanks for listening. Larry, I haven't heard from you in a while. Send me a text. Guys, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.